Hi, I am Life Coach Latricia Booker with Kingdom Business, where we are empowered, where we heal, we get delivered, and we get free. We know who we are, we elevate our minds and our spirits, and raise and expand our consciousness to ultimately walk in our true divine purpose. That is the truth of who God created us to be. And so, you guys, thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate you guys. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of my already subscribers. Thank you all so much. And so I want to jump right in and talk to you about, you may not know who you have birthed. Some people may not know who they gave birth to. Some people may not know who you are, even the very people that gave birth to you. In other words, your biological parents. Sometimes your family don't know who you are. Sometimes they don't know who God created you to be. And so why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because sometimes, in this life, in this journey, God begins to instruct us to do things. And he began to tell us to go in a direction that's so outside of our norm, what we know. And we can have a deep desire or just a deep knowing that this is something that we're supposed to do. It's a calling. It's a calling. And God designed it and ordained it from the very beginning. Before you were even in your mother's womb, he knew you. He had already created you to be who he created you to be. And so what happens sometimes is people who are familiar with you, that know you as being this person, and this is what they know you as, when you decide to, or when God leads you to, step outside of what you know to do something different, outside of the so-called norm, people sometimes, many times family members, sometimes your own parents, would try to talk you out of doing the very thing you know you're supposed to do. Whether it be making a certain move, maybe career-wise, or just moving to a totally another place in the world, whether it be even in love. Sometimes, your people would try to discourage you in love when you know God called you to something. And why that happens is because they're uncomfortable with what it is, because of the change that's taking place in you, because it's outside of your norm. It doesn't fit, I want to say, culture or tradition. But if God called you to it, this is what you know you have to do. So I'm saying all that to say that sometimes you don't know who you gave birth to. You may be a parent or a family member that doesn't understand someone and the moves they make, and God is calling them to do them. Or you can be a person whose parents or family members or friends, whoever, don't understand and get who you are, because you're making moves that they don't understand, because you're making God moves. You're doing what you know in your spirit and in your soul God is moving you to do. And so you find that people around you may be trying to stop you, trying to talk you out of, trying to block you, trying to keep you from moving forward in what God is calling you to do. Now, why would they be doing that? Because number one, it makes them uncomfortable. Number two, unfortunately, many of times they're selfish. And they have a certain idea of what you should be, and they want to keep you there. Again, that's kind of selfish, because if someone wants to move on and this is something that makes them happy, you really should be happy for them and allow people to live their own life. If you're not doing that and you're trying to constrict them, and you do it in the name of concern, or it's being done in the name of concern, I care, that's just too much. Because a person, especially an adult, should and supposed to be allowed to live their own life and make their own decisions and choices, especially if that's what makes them happy. Wouldn't you want your loved ones to be happy? Even if it's outside of what you know, even if it's going to change some things, shouldn't you adjust so that they can be happy, if you really care about them, if you really love them? Or are you being selfish and only thinking of yourself because they benefit you in some way, whether it's financially, whether it's some kind of a codependency? Because sometimes we're just codependent on people and their energies and them being there, doing the things that they do for us, carrying us. And so we want to keep them there to ensure that we'll continue to get, not me, but that continue to get whatever it is they perceive that they're getting that they're benefiting from this person from. But again, that's selfish. That means you're only thinking about yourself and you don't even care about that person. You really don't. You only care about what they can do for you. Because when you really care about someone, no matter how much it may be an adjustment for you, you want them to go on and be happy and do, ultimately, in these cases, what God is calling them to do. And it's a very dangerous thing to try to stop somebody from doing what God is moving them to do. That's very dangerous. And to even be in that state of mind, to think more of what you want from this person than to encourage them and want them to move in the things of God. You have to ask yourself, when you're operating in that kind of a spirit, what does that say about you? Who are you? Again, you don't even realize who God created that person to be. Sometimes you as a parent don't realize who you gave birth to. You were a vessel and a steward. You can only take a child so far. And then God may say, okay, it's time for me to do this with you. Because now it's time for this, whatever it is God ordained. And again, if you are a parent that's doing that, or a family member, you might want to take a look at yourself. If you are a person that this is something that's being done to you, just understand the dynamics of what's happening and what's going on. And sometimes, unfortunately, people will try to make you feel guilty for moving in what you feel in your heart you should do. For moving in what you know God is telling you to do. They'll make you feel guilty. They'll make you feel like you're doing something to them. Unfortunately, this is where they are. But for us good soldiers that don't allow people and where they are and their selfishness to dictate our moves or to stop our call, stop us from moving in the things of God, we move on and we go forth in them, still loving those people and understanding this is just where they are, and they're not going to be understanding to it. Sometimes we want to be understood. We want people to get what it is that we're doing, where we're going while we're making the moves that we make. But in this journey, to really be successful, you have to be okay with people not understanding, because everyone is not going to understand. And unfortunately, many times it's your loved ones. It's sometimes your own parents. Not always, but I'm saying it happens a lot. Sometimes it's your own family. And so you have to be okay with knowing that they might not understand it. They might not get it. And that's okay. Because in this journey, you have to look to not be understood. You know how some people say, people don't understand me. I think I'm misunderstood. You may be. So God understands you. You work to understand yourself the best you can. That's all that matters. You don't want to be so dependent on other people getting your walk with God that you can't walk your walk with God. It's not their walk with God, it's yours. So they're not supposed to understand it. They're not supposed to get it. God ain't giving them the desires in their heart that He's giving you. He's not giving you the dreams and visions that He's giving him, because they're yours. So they're not going to get it. They don't see it. They don't feel what you feel. They don't know what you know, because God is not showing them. He's showing you because it's for you. And so even in times where people really have a real concern, even then you have to, it's like, you heard of things where, particularly with women, she may be dealing with a man who's not good for her. And people around her, particularly her family, her parents, may know they're not good for her. I'm a parent, so I kind of understand these kind of dynamics and these things. But if your child insists on doing this, you have to free them and let them experience it, because this could be a part of their journey. It could be a part of their process. It could be God ordained. And even if it's not, it's still a part of what they choose. And you have to release them and allow them to experience it. Otherwise, you're being controlling. You're trying to control a person, which is always a no-no. Because you have to, again, remember, especially an adult, should be allowed to make their own decisions, even if they're making a mistake. They have to make their mistakes. We all do. And if they're persistent about what they're doing, you may want to release them and let them go on and learn whatever it is they need to learn. If you're that concerned, pray. Say a prayer. Ask God to protect them, to take care of them, whatever. But to try to stop someone from doing that they feel deeply about doing, you might want to stop and take a look at yourself. And so again, I'm really specifically speaking on and speaking to people when this is something that's God led, and you know God is telling you to do this, and people don't get it. They don't understand. They're trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to keep you from doing it so they can stay comfortable with you. Now, what happens if you stay comfortable or stay where they want you to be and you miss all that God has for you? This is the thing. They can't do anything for you that God had planned for you. So you miss all that. And do you want to miss what God has for you, trying to make somebody else be okay with you? They can't give you what God is trying to give you. In fact, if you don't act on what God is telling you to do, what happens is you end up very, very miserable. And they, again, can't help you. They can't do nothing about it. They can't give you what God is trying to give you, because He's God. They just want to keep you where you are so they can be comfortable for whatever reason. Whether it be they're not moving into that, God is not calling them to that, or again, they benefit off of you in some way, even if it's energetically, emotionally, and they may feel like they're losing that connection or in that manner. But again, that's a selfish act. And if you give in to that, first you won't get what God has for you, and then you'll be miserable, still in the same place. Because if God is telling you to move into something, that's where His grace is. If you don't move into where God is moving you into, you don't have grace there. So yeah, you're going to be miserable. I'm reminded of Deuteronomy 28, how He said when you hearken unto His voice, you will be blessed. You'll be blessed when you move on the things of God, when you do what He's telling you to do. But He said if you hearken not unto His voice, you will be cursed. So if God is telling you to move and act on something, and because of people wanting you to stay where you are or whatever, even if it's your own self, if you don't act on what He's telling you to do, you will be cursed. So just something to consider. Just kind of wanted to speak on that, because it's been something that is really has been on me over these last couple of days, and I see it a lot. I've gone through it. I would say I'm still going through it, but not really, because I'm over it. I recognize where people have tried to do that with me and where they even may still be. But it doesn't faze me, because I've moved past, it is what it is, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Somebody told me not long ago that they really admire that about me, how I don't let nothing stop me from moving in what God is calling me to do. And what God tells me to do, I do. I've had to let go quite a few people. Yeah, family members too. Or, even if I deal with them in some kind of a way, is when I do as I do. But it's not a thing where what they're trying to do with me and how they're trying to move me and finesse me and control me and stop me, it is null and void. Even if I do see them and say hi and have a little chit chat or whatever, most times that's the extent to where they go, to where it goes, because you do have to show love where God tells you to interact with these people. But it don't really go any much further than that, because it can't. There's no relationship. Anyone is trying to stop you or trying to keep you from moving in the things of God, that's just trying to be selfish and keep you for themselves, for their own purposes, instead of encouraging you and releasing you so that you can move into the things of God. You know, for me personally, there's no room for a relationship for someone that operates in that kind of a spirit. For me. I may have love for you. I may even look out for you if I need to. But relationship, how? But that's a whole nother thing. I just want to encourage you all, if God is moving you to do things, or if you have dreams, visions, and desires that you are in the process of walking into, manifesting, pursuing, whatever it is, if God is calling you to something, whether it be to a ministry, whether it be a new way of living, a new different kind of a lifestyle, a different career, a love relationship, a different part of the world, whatever it may be, because there's so many things. You know, and you may be encouraged to start a business and people are trying to tell you, no, it won't work. But if God, if God, even if it ain't God, I think it's crazy for people to try to discourage you. Who does that but selfish people that don't want you to move forward? Because guess what? They sitting where they sitting and they ain't moving forward. And I'm going to say this. Sometimes they don't even realize that you being blessed and moving forward is really finna bless them. But they be so busy trying to block you and keep you where they are, they end up missing their blessings. Whether it be because you didn't act on it, which hopefully that's not the case, or even if you do act on it, they not going to receive the magnitude of the blessings that was for them, if there was some for them, because they went through extremes to block it. So to block you from moving forward. So when they block you from moving forward, try to, because, you know, prayerfully is not succeeding. They're not succeeding with stopping you. But when they attempt to, when you're trying to block and stop, what you're doing is blocking and stopping your own blessings. So you're not even going to be able to get the fullness of the blessings that this person may be moving forward where you concerned. Not that they won't still do certain things, but God would make sure that they don't receive the fullness. They can't receive it. They're a blocker and a stopper. And again, when you block and stop, or attempt to block and stop, and I like to say attempt to, because just because somebody trying to stop and block you don't mean they succeeding at it. But that's their intention. But when you put that intention out, that's what you're getting back. So you're stopping and blocking yourself and what you could be receiving from that person that you're trying to stop and block. Just because you're trying to stop and block them, you're blocking yourself and don't even realize it. So anyhow, I hope that makes sense, but I encourage you to do what God says do, because sometimes people don't know who they gave birth to. Sometimes people don't know who you are, and it's not always for them to know. Some people do know who you are. They get it and they support you. Those are the people, I don't want to say that you focused on, but that you give your energy back to. Not those who are not supporting you in what God is moving you to do, and what you feel in your heart is the thing to do, and what you know is the thing to do. Some people just don't know who you are. Some people don't know who they gave birth to. Some people don't know. Some people just don't know. Some people just don't know. They just don't get it. And what I've learned is that in order for you to know who you've given birth to, you have to be awakened in some way. People who are sleepwalkers and they don't understand the things of God for real, they may know the Bible, they may go to church, but they don't have that real revelation. Because if you have real revelation, you know who's who, you know. But what I've learned, if you're not awakened, you can't see that. You're stuck in your own preconceived notions of what you think it should be, and you try to keep things exactly like they are, which means you're not growing, by the way, which means you don't evolve. You just stay right there. That's all you know. And so unfortunately, when that's what it is for you, that's what you're trying to create in others. You want others to stay stuck too, but that's not what God is calling them to. that's probably not where God is calling you to. But to each his own. Point is, they don't know who you are. If they don't know who you are, it's nothing you can do about it. Maybe, just maybe, they don't know who they gave birth to. But God does. And if you don't know, you're learning and you're finding out. I encourage you to continue with that. I encourage you to continue in the pursuits of God, to continue to walk in whatever he's calling you to. And so, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to sit that right there for you. I hope it's a blessing. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. And click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. You can also connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Latricia Booker and on Twitter at Kingdom Business 9. That is Kingdom Business with one S and the number 9. You guys, that's my time. So you know what that means. She's out. Peace.